Hello and welcome to our first episode of Hungry Talks. I'm your co-host, Alana Wood, the Creative Director and Accounts Manager for Hungry Talks.
And I'm Polazzon, the other co-host and also social media and content creator.
So over the past few months, we've been working to renovate Hungry Talks, to turn it into something completely new. We've got international, interstate and Melbourne guests coming up, talking everything from ethics in advertising to applying your creative skills to fields outside of advertising.
Yeah, so buckle up for a wide range of topics and guests, and mixed in with a little interactive game show inspired activities. Just as a disclaimer for anyone that's just popped in, the session is being recorded, including the chat. And obviously due to changing conditions, our first few episodes will be online. So please bear with us if we run into anything any technical difficulties, but we are really excited. We do have a brand new studio that we are hoping to get into in the next couple of weeks with some IRL guests as well.
So tonight we're excited to introduce the Director of Orange Hammer and RMIT's own ad lecturer and tutor, John Dingeldei. So welcome,
Hi,
John.
Alana.
Hello.
Hi, Alana. Hi, Bella.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
So tell us, John, and the audience watching along at home, where are you this week?
Well, where I am, I'm in Queensland. Be careful what you wish for. I wished I could extend my break, and unfortunately it sent New South Wales into lockdown, and so I couldn't return to Melbourne for the start of the semester. So I'm travelling around Rockhampton at the moment in my fried out combi, and I've gone into the 70s theme with my Sandman panel van t-shirt, so keeping into the 70s theme. But it's great up here. It's nice and warm, but I'm able to, technology's allowed me to continue to work in my combi online, and I'm coming to you from the Darumbal people in Queensland, so acknowledging our traditional owners here for where I'm coming from. And interesting story about that, King Billy, who's one of the kings of the Darumbal people, was in 1883, his photo was sent to America and used in an ad for a reclining chair, believe it or not. So there's a bit of useless information for everyone.
There you go. Now, John, I think a lot of us students are curious about your journey into advertising. So I'd like to ask, what did you study and what was your breakthrough into the industry?
I studied applied chemistry at RMIT, believe it or not.
That's a new
9,
one.
the chemistry building used to be in Building 9 or Building 7, so I had a lot of lectures in there until I decided I wasn't going to be a scientist, and I then moved into a sales role for a scientific and healthcare company, CSL at that stage, and decided marketing was my thing. So I studied marketing, got a degree at Monash, and throughout my journey I ended up hiring various advertising agencies, always keen to get into the creative side of the business. And one day, one of the advertising agencies that I hired to do my work said they hired me to do their work. So that's how I got my start in advertising. And for the last 18 years, been in my own business, Orange Hammer, as you said, which has grown to be very small, just me and the combi now. So the message, I think, is doesn't matter where you start from, follow your passion. I always wanted to get into the creative and advertising field, but didn't have the confidence when I left school first, but gradually found ways to get my creativity out there, and that led me to here I am now in advertising. And I'll give you one other little thing. How did I get to RMIT as a lecturer? This is a message for everybody working in groups. I worked at Monash in a group with Linda Brennan, who's the Professor Linda Brennan at RMIT, and she invited me to be a guest lecturer and to fill in for somebody on maternity leave, and that was 10 years ago, so I've been sessional with RMIT for that 10 years. So the people you work with in groups, your careers can carry along and all sorts of opportunities can come from that. So be nice to the people in your groups.
Amazing. Well, jumping off that, we want to know, have you seen advertising evolve over the course of your experience in the industry?
I think the major change is the technology. I used to also owned a printing company, trying to vertically integrate my agency. I bought a printing company, so we did a lot of print work back in the 90s and early 2000s, but fortunately I got out of that business because we just weren't printing as much stuff. But the same concept, the creative messages are still the same. The process is still the same, but the technology has changed. So going from print to broadcast media into digital media today, that's probably the biggest change I've seen. And it's going to continue to change. The more things, the more we human beings want to communicate in different ways, that's going to create different technologies for communication, and we advertisers will find a way to get in on that to get our messages through using those technologies too.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like the creative thinking will always be the same, but we'll have to adapt to the technologies and the other changes that come with it. So moving on now, John, we'd love to know, what are you looking forward to this semester with Hungry Talks?
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to working with you guys. It's been a pleasure so far. That's probably the number one thing, and it's the joy. It's why I do teaching and sessional work, because of the involvement with students and everybody that's online. That's what I'm looking forward to most. But amongst your guests, that you've got a fantastic lineup coming up. I'm really keen to see Tom Curtis from MediaCom, the executive creative director there. He's a really smart guy. I took a group of students there in 2019 to visit him in his agency in London. So it'd be great to catch up with him again.
Yeah, we've got some really exciting guests coming up and really different topics from what we've seen previous years. So looking forward to it.
And I'm certainly looking forward to the level. You students may not know, but you're working with, or will be working with, some students from the media program in the college, the RMIT's vocational education program, and they're going to help us take it to a whole new level. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they can help you guys to focus on the content while they focus on the production elements of this this series.
Yeah, very true. So yeah, for this first episode, we're on Collaborate Ultra, but next week we'll start to be streaming live on YouTube, and you'll be seeing like a fully polished, produced kind of TV show style thing. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Now, moving on for our next segment, we're giving you the breakdown of what to expect this semester so you don't have a breakdown. Now, third year students will be aware that Hungry Talks has a briefer week. But for our second years and new viewers tonight, John, could you explain what are Hungry Talks quick briefs, and how many quick briefs do our second and third years need to do?
Second and third years, as part of their assessment, have to submit a minimum of 3 quick briefs. But that's only a minimum for assessment. And the reason we do that is just to get you to do some of them. I'd encourage you to have a go as many as you can, because it'll hone your skills, it'll practice your skills. You don't have to put them all in your folios. The second years are constructing a digital folio. The third years are building on the folio that they built in second year. And you can construct your folio and put the best work in there, but it gives you an opportunity. You can put the best work in when you've got a lot of work. If you've only got one great piece of work, if you've only got one piece of work, that's your greatest piece of work. But if you've got lots of work, you can pick and choose the best, and you can pick and choose what you show to the capabilities of you. If many of you are probably uncertain about what roles you want at this stage when you graduate. If you want to be a copywriter or an art director or a strategist, you can use your folio to test yourself out on all those different elements as well. So minimum of 3 is the requirement. We've also got students from professional practice in the master's course. They're doing a creative studio. Again, I'm not sure exactly how many they're required to do, but it's building up a folio of work. So at least a minimum of 3, and have a go at as many as you like. And you can keep coming back to them and refining them over time. You might come back to some of the quick briefs that you did last year and polish those up for your folio for this year.
Yeah, that's really important in advice as well. And speaking of folios, so second years will start to make their own folios this year if they haven't already. The question is, what do you think the importance of having a folio ready early is? Like how important is that?
Well, I think it's important because you can keep refining it, to get onto it, start onto it now, and you can polish it if you start early. If you leave it till the end, a rush job will come up with not as good a result. You can push yourself further and you can use this as an opportunity to network, find other mentors within industry, ask them, here's my response to this brief. I'm really interested in your opinion. I'm really interested in your feedback on how could I push this to the next level. And it's something tangible you can talk about with other industry people, mentors. You can approach anybody and say, look, I'm interested in your help. People love to give you their help if you approach them in the right way, and you've got something tangible that they can look at and say, well, here's my take on what you could do. So if you haven't had a go at it and you haven't started it and built something early, you've got nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
I just noticed there's a question too about where you can find the quick briefs. We're going to be introducing some of those quick briefs tonight, but for those of you who are in the industry practice, in capstone and in professional practice, they will be posted in a section in the module called Hungry Talks Quick Briefs on your Canvas site for your relevant course.
Yeah. So your tips for building your folio is just having a go at a lot of things so that you have like the best things to choose from. And also I really liked what you said about getting your folio in front of some industry professionals and things like that. For Hungry Talks, we've had a few conversations with some previous students that have recently graduated, and they said that, yeah, like building those networks early is really important. So you're not just like reaching out to someone out of the blue and being like, hey, I need a job. You're actually, you have previous connections with them. Personally, my tip for building a folio would be, because I think second years have it as an assignment this semester. So personally, I'd use a folio website that you see yourself using for at least the foreseeable future. I went with Weebly because it was free, but I ended up moving to Adobe Portfolio because it's just a lot more professional looking and it'll age a lot better moving into the industry. So keep that in mind so that you're not doubling the workload for yourself as you go on.
Yeah, I second that. Yeah, Adobe Portfolio is a really good resource, and it is free with our student login as well. Moving on from that, John, I think a big question for a lot of us third years is pitch night. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, pitch night, I have the pleasure of working with the pitch night crew to bring that to you this year. Last year, none of you had the opportunity to actually experience pitch night as we have in the past. Normally, when it's been a live and face-to-face event, we've had second years involved. So this year, I want second years to have a listen to this as well, because we're hoping that we can bring you a live event and a hybrid event in some ways, because we've got a lot of international students, so we want those international students involved with the online component. We're taking the best of the online that we did last year, and the best of the physical environment. And whilst there's still things in place, we'll be giving you information to keep you informed. But the thing to think about now, if you are attending Pitch Night, start building your folio and following through the assignment things. You'll get announcements from the Pitch Night crew that will tell you what we need from them when. No need to stress, and we'll give you plenty of notice to do all that sort of work. And one thing I can say is, if you're in third year, if you're graduating, you will be the star of this show. So be prepared to be the star of the show. And as all the stuff about folios, your folios will be there so that you can be the star of the show when you're met with agency people or the industry people to help you get employment after Pitch Night. One of the great things of this program is it's got really high employability statistics. That meaning that people get a job within 12 to 18 months after in the field. I just had a message from Carlin Stevenson, who was part of the Pitch Night crew last year. He's just got a job with the Spark Foundry. So, and people are moving through all the time. It's really great to see how people are coming through. So look out for the announcements. And for second years, we're going to be asking you to be involved as part of it. And it's a great opportunity for you to see what's going to happen when you come to do your Pitch Night. So we're looking for some volunteers, but look out for the announcements coming down the track. It's going to be exciting.
Oh, excited! Amazing! I can't wait. Speaking of kind of finding like jobs and stuff, but like entering competitions, is there like a benefit, and should students be really applying themselves to these as well?
Absolutely, it's worthwhile being part of competitions. You can test your skills against other people. It's another way to get some feedback. The judges usually give you some feedback, and you can get some notoriety. In fact, I think later on we're going to show a case study of some of our students who won a pencil in the D&AD Awards, and their idea actually got turned into a real product by that brand. So I won't go anymore. Just a thing on the competitions. We've already released one of the competitions, which is the TAC split-second film competition. There's 2 versions of that brief that are already up on Canvas and were distributed yesterday. That has a short time frame. The deadline for that is the 9th of August. So have a go at that if you're interested in. You can win $5,000 and get your video shown around, and great. It's a great accolade. There's another competition I put up today, which is the your Melbourne competition, which is in association with BMW, and that's a good opportunity to have a go at that. You've got a little bit longer to work on that one. And just a question on deadlines. The deadlines for the brief, some briefs will have a specific deadline that the client wants you to get back for, like those competitions. Some deadlines may be just to the end of semester when you need to get your folio ready to submit for Pitch Night, or submit as part of an assessment if you want to include it.
Yeah. So speaking of like getting your name out there and your work out there, do you think it's too early for second years to start looking for internships?
Definitely not too early. In fact, those of you who are enrolled in advertising industry practice, it's a work integrated learning approved course, which means you can undertake an internship as part of that course. It's not a requirement to do it as in the course, but you get RMIT insurance if you do it as a second year. And the industry knows, they've all started where you are, so they're willing to help. And starting to network, making contacts with people on the guests on Hungry Talks, making contact with people on LinkedIn, people you get to know, and approaching those, showing them your quick briefs and getting their feedback are all good ways to lead to get to an internship. I'd also say, if you've got friends and family, who do they know in the advertising industry, or who do they know that knows someone in the advertising industry that they may be able to introduce you to? And through that, you can start the conversation. You don't have to start the conversation, I want an internship. Start the conversation is, I'd like your help. Could you have a look at some of my work, or could you, what are some tips to get into the industry? And people will oblige if you approach them in a professional way.
Yeah, totally. And I do really advocate for second years to start looking at internships and not doubt yourself. It's not too early. You're not going to feel like a fish out of water. Just go for it, especially because once you get to third year, things get really hectic. So that's personally how I got my internships. I started looking in the summer, and it became a lot easier throughout the year. So highly recommend, and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Can I just suggest also the RMIT students and alumni LinkedIn page? I think Perry's popped up that group number in there. That's something you should all join, because there are internship opportunities, there are competition opportunities, there are briefs all popped up there on a regular basis, and it's worthwhile checking that out for opportunities that come along. And even during the lockdowns and things like that, there are opportunities to do internships online. So don't be discouraged by if we are back into a lockdown at various times.
Yeah, no, I definitely second that as well. And also, if there's like a specific kind of internship or like area you want to go for, pop into the LinkedIn search. And like for me, I want to do social media. So I looked in social media marketing intern, and I left a like you can leave like a LinkedIn notification, and every time one of those jobs gets posted, you'll get a notification, so you could like be one of the first to apply and stuff. And that's how I ended up finding one of mine as well. So yeah, highly recommend LinkedIn. And yeah, just reaching out, email people, get really good at writing cover letters as well, and update your resume as well. But I think, was there any other guests and topics that you're really excited for, John, that we have lined up for Hungry Talks? Or you kind of spoke about it in our intro, didn't you?
I did, but if there's another one, the subject might sound dry, but the presenter is so much fun. It's all singing, all dancing. Megan McEwen from the Australian Association of National Advertisers. She's going to be talking about ethics in advertising, and she's a lot of fun. Really worthwhile having a look at that.
Yeah, we can't wait for that one as well. We're really excited when we were able to kind of write an episode about that as well. But for now, we're going to cross over to Perry, who will deliver this week's news. And this is going to be a weekly segment that'll help keep us up to date with what's hot in the advertising world. So let's take it away, Perry.
Good evening and welcome to Free News. I'm your host, Perry Capitalist. Our top stories tonight are brought to you by B&T, Australia's leading publication for advertising and media news. The fall of lingerie brand Victoria's Secret has been well documented over the last few years, with a former Angel labelling their activism as too little, too late. Australian model Bridget Malcolm has labelled Victoria's Secret's move to rebrand their ambassadors from Angels to VS Collective members as performative allyship. Malcolm revealed she was body-shamed and traumatised by its parent company's CEO, Ed Rezek, who has since stepped down, not without accusations of bullying, harassment and misogyny. The demise of Victoria's Secret has been partly attributed to its overly sexualised brand persona and perpetuation of unattainable beauty standards. In a similar vein, the image-sharing app Pinterest has taken a radical approach to combating diet culture, banning all weight loss-focused products, imagery and language. However, Brands that promote healthy lifestyles and fitness-related outcomes from their products will still be allowed to advertise on the platform. Elizabeth Thompson, CEO of National Eating Disorders Association USA, says on behalf of the association, she's hopeful this global policy will encourage other organisations to reflect on potentially harmful ad messages. You can read more about these stories on bnt.com.au. And onto this week's bad ads. This year we saw June's Pride celebrations reach more people than ever, thanks to our increasingly accepting and digitally connected world. The Pride movement, which started in the US, has put pressure on brands to show solidarity with the LGBTQ community, which led to some controversial results due to poorly considered copywriting and design choices. Amazon Prime's choice of imagery was deemed phallic. Pinterest was critiqued over their poor paint job, and Entertainment Weekly's Facebook profile picture from 2017 resurfaced with their unfortunate initials. Taking out the top spot, however, is Bud Light with their spin on the LGBTQ acronym. Thankfully, this was a Metrolite in Queens, New York. That's all for tonight.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Perry. And now let's get into something that I'm sure many of us ad students are always wanting to know, how to do better. They're going to be front and center on any project we work on, so it's important to have a good idea on how to tackle them. And by them, I mean briefs. This is breaking down briefs and building up ideas.
So we want to give you guys some good tips and tricks that will help you break down any brief and then from there be able to build up some ideas to really make your final executions pop.
So John, before we start on how to break down briefs, would you like to introduce this week's quick brief?
Yes, thank you, Bella. Thanks, Alana. The first quick brief, other than the two that competitions that I mentioned before, this one is for the brand, the Nissan Leaf, one of the most affordable electric vehicles in Australia. And it has also a large range, that is, it'll go for a long time without needing to be refilled, and it has a 5-star safety rating. However, our problem with the Nissan Leaf is that it's a relatively high purchase price, a bit over $50,000 with the on-road costs, and there's a limited network of recharge stations outside of the metropolitan area because we're just getting into the electric vehicle stage, so it's early stages in this evolution. So the challenge that you have in this quick brief is to get the Nissan Leaf on the consideration shopping list for city car purchases. So our target audience critically is urban professionals who have either no children or only small kids because it's a relatively small car. They commute within the metropolitan areas, so they're not traveling long distances. And critically, they're concerned about the environment and especially its impact on the use of fossil fuels, global warming and pollution. Now, in our brief, the single-minded proposition that's presented here is a city-friendly hatchback that can cover 300 kilometres between charges and costs approximately $10 to fully charge. Now, 300 kilometres may not sound a lot, but to put it into context, my 1975 Combi that I've been travelling outback Australia can only get 300 kilometres, so I have to look out for a petrol station every 300 kilometres anyway. So I'm not, and it's probably the first of these, there's the longest range of cars at the moment between charges. The hybrid cars such as the Prius, they've been available for over 10 years now, and they use a combination of petrol and electric to extend that range. But until recently, the only electric only cars have been upmarket cars like the Tesla or the BMW's i3. So the Nissan Leaf now means that we've got an electric car that might be within reach of households who seek a practical city car that is user-friendly, and that 300 kilometres between charges is not going to be a barrier. It only takes 2 hours to charge, And if you use your solar at home, it's free. So it's not a bad way to fund that. Now, competitors to the Leaf include the Honda Iconic and the MG, the ZST. Now, these cars are don't have the same range as the Leaf, even though they are in the same price range, so they won't travel as far. You may also want to consider other competitors, because the hybrid cars like the Toyota Prius may still be within the competition sphere as well. Your budget, you have $1 million for the period from October 2021 to March 2022, and it's a national campaign. The media, up to you. We don't care what IMC tools you use. And to give you an idea and to distill this task down, we want you to convince urban professionals with small kids or no kids who commute mostly in the metropolitan areas and are concerned with the environment, and especially the impact of fossil fuels on global warming and pollution, that the Nissan Leaf is a city-friendly hatchback because it can cover 300 kilometres between charges, and it's quick to charge, and even free if you do it from your solar at home. We are looking for you to develop a creative strategy, or it could be a creative strategy presentation if you're a strategist. So present a strategy. And the reason I say that, this is for you to put on your folio more than anything else. We don't have a real client that you'll be presenting to in this case, although we might be more than happy to send it through to Nissan, because one of the things I'm not sure is we haven't got any mandatories, because I'm not sure what Nissan's positioning is, to be honest. They don't have a zoom tagline or the power of dreams like Honda and Mazda have. So you can come up, if you're a strategist or an account manager, look at a way of developing a creative strategy presentation that can get the Nissan Leaf on the shopping list for city car purchases. If you're a creative copywriter, an art director, put together a creative concept presentation, a big idea that could be turned into a campaign. If you're interested in working in media, why not put together a media plan on how you can do that? It's okay for you to work independently, or if you want to work as part of a team with a strategist, a planner and a creatives, by all means do that and showcase the relevant parts in your folios. So the deadline says the 17th of October because that's week 12, and all you need to do is have something ready for your folio. You don't need to include it in your folio if you're not proud of it, but it's one that you can start working on now. There's a couple of links there, an article from caradvice.com and a link to the Nissan website that shows a little bit about the Nissan Leaf that you can get some background on. So get researching, look at the insights, and see how you go with coming up with a creative strategy or creative concept for the Nissan Leaf to get it on the shopping list of city car purchases.
Thank you, John. It's definitely a very relevant brief, and it's good that we've written it so that strategists and account managers and creatives can have a crack at it, which is something that we want to try with this year's Hungry Talks a little bit more. So yes, to ease us into these quick briefs, we have collected a few questions to help you get down to the nitty-gritty of what the brief is asking for. After each question, John will give us some tips to help you get started cracking this brief. So get your pens or your keyboards at the ready. So question number 1 is, what do we want to accomplish? So when reading this brief, what is it that it's asking us to do? So John, would you be able to just summarize it in a few words?
Yeah, it's asking us to get the Nissan Leaf on the shopping list of people that want a small city car.
Yeah.
Particularly those in the target audience that are interested in the environment.
Perfect, yeah. So question 2 is, who are we talking to? So who is the target audience of this brief, but also how will we speak to them?
So the target audience, as specified in the brief, are people that perhaps no kids or small kids, probably upwardly mobile, urban professional people living in the city, and they have they believe that the looking after the environment is something that's important to do. They're moving away from fossil fuels. So how can we speak to them? Well, I would suggest that you speak to them with a degree of intelligence. That these are usually intelligent people thinking about the environment, and they take the issue seriously. Doesn't mean you can't be humorous, but unpack as much as you can. What do you know about this type of person? What do they think, feel, and do? That'll give you an insight in how to speak to them.
Yeah, perfect. So I guess we've kind of discussed what our message is, but how are we saying what we want to say, and what's the tone of voice? I guess this one's kind of a little bit up to you guys, but what do you recommend the tone of voice be?
Yeah, well, as I said, I suppose you need to treat them with a deal of intelligence, so don't talk down to them. But you can have a look at the Nissan brand. What do you think the Nissan brand should do? Should it be more friendly? Should it be, what position do they want to take? And perhaps you could choose a tone of voice that's going to support a positioning that you might recommend for Nissan. Because this is my personal belief, I'm not sure that they've got a strong position in the minds of car buyers. You think about Toyota, reliable. You think about Volvo, safe. You think about BMW, stylish. What's Nissan?
Yeah. And I think it's also important, to do some further research than just what's in the brief, and have a look at some other ads that Nissan have made, and also what kind of tone of voice will reach our target audience best. So that kind of leads to our next question, which is, what are the mandatories and brand guidelines we have to follow? So that's usually pretty clear in the brief, but it's just things
we haven't got any specified in this from Nissan, but clearly you'd use the Nissan logo. I don't know that they've got a strong positioning line or theme line that you need to use. So fairly free. Typical car clients usually like to see the product in the ads, but you don't have to do that. So there's broad guidelines.
Yeah. So our next question would be, how do we reach our target audience? So what media channels should we use? What will make sense regarding the target audience?
Well, one of the things that probably goes back to the mandatories, I'd include a web address or something like that. You need some sort of call to action, so that, because we're wanting to get people to consider this car on their shopping list, so you need them to seek out more information. So the website would be one critical. So that's an owned media channel that they need to consider. But you can also be as wide and broad as you like for your target audience. Are they people that travel a lot on public transport and only use their car on weekends for shopping exercises? So therefore transit might be. Once you dig into your target audience, that will give you clues into what media choices will work best.
Yeah. And this kind of links in with question 6, which is, what is the strongest insight from the research that you've done? So we probably can't answer this question here today, but Insights are very important, understanding the way our target audience thinks, feels, and does. So make sure you keep this front and center when brainstorming. John, what do you think the importance of insights are?
Well, it underpins every great creative idea. And so what we're looking for is something that's consistent and logical, something that's probably not immediately obvious to the client. That's where you're really adding value. So if you understand your target audience, it's those little ahas that you just never expected to, that you wouldn't have found out unless you'd sort of dug in closer and deeper. So, yep, absolutely. If you haven't got a strong insight, keep digging. Keep asking why.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I definitely recommend coming up with an insight before you kind of, or like go too far into your ideas process. Otherwise, you'll be just doing it for the sake of doing it. And yeah, insights can come from anywhere. Can confirm. You'll be surprised. But oh, sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say, tell them about Durodump. I always use this as an example when I'm trying to explain to someone not in advertising what insights are. I always use Bella's group as an example.
So we just did D&AD, and for it, Duolingo was one of the briefs that we could do. And my group, which was Christine, Evelyn, and Sarani, we were really struggling. We were a couple of weeks out, and we just couldn't do anything. And I had this really throwaway thing written down. I was like, you know, everyone takes their phone to the bathroom. You know, you may as well learn French while you're there. And we ended up rolling with it. And it was just this throwaway comment. That's how we came up with our Duo Dump campaign, where you could take 5 minutes and do your Duolingo while you're on the bathroom, when you're in the bathroom. And so, yeah, insights come from anywhere. So don't disregard even the silliest of ideas.
That's a good one, Bella. And the McDonald's I'm loving it campaign came from a consumer who said it. Just that line.
There you go.
So they can come from anywhere.
Very true. So we'll now watch a video of a campaign that John is particularly passionate about, that he spoke about a little bit earlier. So Ben, if you could pull that up, and then we'll have a chat about insights in this example.
It's no secret we don't talk about them enough, and especially not in sport.
Clear and good showing.
We need solutions that make women comfortable around their period. You do want people to have it openly.
Oops, sorry, technical difficulties. So John, can you tell us a bit more about where the insight was in that campaign and why you love it so much?
Well, the reason I love it so much is it came from our students. It was Max McKay, Zoe Decker, and Jerome Wilson in 2019 submitted this as their D&AD, and they won a pencil for it, which is great. And one of the things that they realised was that girls stopped playing sport and team sports. Boys tend to keep going with team sports. And so they'd started to dig deeper and deeper into this, and they did some of their own research, and they went, well, why do girls stop playing sport? And one of the key things that came up was the periods, the fear around periods, and particularly in a team sport, girls are afraid in front of even other girls. But and they found some supportive research from the UK that said 46% of girls stop playing sport because of fear around leakage during the period. Why I think this is not only a great example, they not only won a pencil, but this idea has just been released by Adidas. They've taken the idea, and there is now a new campaign that Girls Don't Stop is Max, Jerome and Zoe's line, and Adidas have just come out with Stay in Play Through Your Period, which is pretty much the same message. They didn't give our students any acknowledgement, but necessarily, but I'm pretty sure that the guys, the team at Adidas, saw the work and were impressed enough to take it that next level. So a good insight, and even if they didn't, it just shows the power of that insight, that they got it 2 years earlier than Adidas did. But a good insight will get turned into a real product and become a reality. So they dug deep into the research. And it was a live brief in collaboration with Adidas. So Adidas did know about it. And it's a shame that they didn't acknowledge some of the thinking that's there, but it's great work from the team, and I think you guys are all up to that too. We've got 2 people on the screen that have already won and been shortlisted for their campaigns too. So we have a history of great work coming out of this course, this program.
Definitely. And speaking of insights and briefs, if you do have any questions about the brief, Hungry Talks, or even for John, please pop them in the chat. We will collate them. And while you are asking away, we are going to pass over to Ben in the meantime, who's going to be running a weekly segment talking advertising outside of the classroom. Ben on the Street, all these segments were following COVID advice at the time of the filming. But for now, please take it away, Ben.
Hello everyone, and welcome to some Ben on the Street. This is the first episode equaling our pilot, so we have a very chilled out episode planned for tonight. Basically, this segment is all about taking advertising outside of the classroom, giving a lot of insight into what goes on in the advertising industry. Today, I'm sitting here with 3 of my classmates in this brilliant Year 3 cohort. I'm sitting with Gid, Sophie, and Vic, all give them a very warm welcome. I've just got a series of questions. You guys have already been briefed, so thank you for having some time to come here and. Yes. Can I just get a latte? So I've already. But I'm going to ask you a few questions about advertising and how you guys went in finding this course and your thoughts basically on it and what you guys plan to do from the last semester when you graduate. So I'm going to start with the first question, which is, how did you guys find advertising?
It's pretty straightforward. Both my uncle and sister did the course, and hearing about their experience was really straightforward. Yeah, pretty much straightforward. Yeah, I've already sold this course, so I can through Year 12s already, just talking about all the things I've done. Yeah, and they're like, oh wow, I want to do marketing now, I want to do advertising. Sweet.
I actually thought that advertising was like going to teach me how to photograph like fashion editorial kind of stuff. So I just like searched up advertising, saw myself in. It's not quite that, but it's good. So yeah.
How do you find advertising?
Well, I just knew I wanted to go back to uni, and like it was on my like to-do list to like just get a degree, I guess. So it was kind of like, oh, that sounds fascinating. I was doing some like work experience at the time, and I knew a girl that was.
What's your RMIT journey been for advertising? Have you enjoyed it? What are some of the things you think you hated or loved?
Oh, shout out to the tutors, have to say. Yeah,
The
they've
tutors
been
are
great.
great.
Yeah, definitely, that's mine.
I said from the start, I overall loved the entire experience from start to finish. There's some
Huge you made, and I think the quality of and standard of work that they show us and that they try and get us to achieve, how it's very professional. I think the way that they go about giving us kind of real life briefs. I mean, I'm sure they were a real life brief one time, but they've given us the hand-me-downs and let us have our own creative flow and freedom when creating kind of, whatever we're producing, whatever ad we're making.
The people, like like working. Stop laughing. Like the people that you work with is just like so nice. Like that's why you want to go to uni, you know? Like you want to work with friends. Yeah, the cohort's just like I see my friends in other courses and they don't know anyone, and then you come here and it's just like everyone knows each other and you feel really included.
Congratulations, Sophie's really popular.
No. No, it's just.
So I'm gonna bring you guys back to your childhood.
Okay.
What were your childhood dreams for a job?
Oh yeah, I pre-read that one, and I was like, oh my god. I literally wanted to be like Victoria Beckham's, like at that point of time, like third child. I even wrote her a letter, and I'm not even shitting you. That was like my peak goals when I was younger. Yeah.
I say this a lot. I had two dreams. When I was a kid, I wanted glasses and braces. I got both of them. So
realized those two things weren't good.
I loved every moment of it.
So you kept one.
Yeah, dreams do come true. Those were genuinely my dreams as a kid. I don't know why.
That sounds so innocent.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a princess. So, no relation.
What made you guys stand out in this course, do you reckon? Because you guys are the top dogs of advertising, aren't you?
Are we? Big personality.
Big personality.
I reread that. Yeah.
Big personality.
I feel like that's the only reason people know me is because it's like I'm like kid's sidekick.
No.
Hell yeah.
Vic is really hard working. Vic doesn't know when off is.
Yeah, I know. It's embarrassing.
Like,
Hold on, maybe we'll pause because it is.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Not true.
This Hungry Talk
Also,
is
I'm
brought to
just
you by
conscious
Budget
of
Direct.
time.
Budget Direct. Book online now.
If you could start this course all again, what would you do different?
I'd probably like try and learn how to tackle briefs sooner.
Yeah.
Because like it's actually, I feel like every time you do it, you get better. And I wish I developed that skill sooner.
Yeah.
Like I'd probably have more confidence to like tackle competitions like D&AD in second year, whether it's with the intention to win anything, but it just gives you that understanding of like the quality that needs to be won, and it just like pushes you to keep digging deeper to get like bigger, better ideas. So yeah, I think just more confidence, maybe to actually like enter those competitions.
Yeah.
Especially while you're a student. Yeah.
I think it's just like the hardest part of like probably is the hardest part about the course, or like just being a creative in general, is that like for the most part like you're valued off the work that you just did, not your work previously, and that's because like every brief is different, and like therefore requires you to think of something almost completely brand new, which is like just like a hard thing to kind of grapple with, that like not everything is going to be perfect.
Yourself. The last thing is an activity that we're doing. It's simply sell yourself as a drink and pitch it to me and Alana.
I would say that I am like the watermelon Gatorade flavor. you look at it, it's like clear, and you're like, that's kind of weird, but then you try and you're like, oh, it's actually pretty good.
Oh.
That's cute. No, I'm just like, how did you get there?
I would say I'm water, I'm transparent, and I'm there for you. I'm always there for you.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh no, it's my turn. God, I didn't read this question before, so I'm like, it's on the top of my head. I would be the milkshake from that consent video, but I would do it much better, and I would taste better too. Talking about advertising, that's my dream of choice.
Thank you everyone for coming on the show. You know, I know it's now out of your time, especially on holidays, but it's something special to have you three on here. You did absolutely brilliant, so give yourself a round of applause. Right, so now we're going back to Alana and Bella at studio. See you there.
Thank you so much, Ben. We hope that reflection from our third year students might help the second years with some advice, and also reassure us third years that we're all in this together. Sorry we're running a little overtime tonight. We're still getting used to timings, but if you stick around, there is a Kahoot at the end. So now we've got John in the hot seat answering your burning questions about this week's brief, or for him, or about Hungry Talks, whatever. Keep them coming through. And yeah, so first up, does split second count as a quick brief? This question comes from Gid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a quick brief, but it's also a competition, so you can submit it as part of your portfolio. Any of the competitions are fine like that. Cool.
So we've kind of got like 3 quick briefs for this first episode, so feel free to choose any ones that you like, or if you want to smash out all 3 for your folio. But yeah, Bella, do you want to ask another question?
Yeah, we've kind of touched on this, but Callum asks, how do we submit these individual briefs? So I think it says on the NISN one it's the 17th, but the assignment is due on the 31st. So yeah, if they've got a date, like a specific date, I know the competitions do. How do we submit them?
So for those briefs that are to go to like a competition, there'll be instructions in the brief on how to submit. The NISN Leaf brief, because that's we don't have a specific client behind that, this is just for you to put on your folio. You don't have to submit it if you don't want to, and you can use it as a talking point with a mentor or someone in industry. But the reason for the deadline is that's the last date of submission for class. And even though in third year you might be presenting your digital folio and you need to have some of your quick briefs in there, you don't necessarily have to have it in your final folio. But so you can keep working on it until the end of semester if you like, or beyond. The other thing, if you've got a brief from, we'll have some of our guests providing us with briefs, and they will give you instructions then whether they're happy for you to contact them, whether to submit the briefs to them, what are the deadlines that they're imposing then for those briefs.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to try and get them to you before each episode. And we're not always going to be able to do that if our guest hasn't got the brief ready or submitted it to us beforehand. But if we can get it to you before we actually go live to air, we will send it out, so that gives you an opportunity to have a bit of a read through and prepare yourself with questions while you've got the person who's giving the brief there to be able to do that.
Yeah, and we do have a very exciting quick brief next week, so you'll have to stay tuned to find out. So this question comes from Noah. How polished do the quick briefs need to be? Can they just be mock-ups? That's a great question.
Yeah, it is a great question, and I think they can be as polished as you want them to be. And sometimes a scamp is all you need to do to show your thinking. That's what potential employers are looking for. They want to see your thinking. And if you can show that thinking very simply and clearly in a scamp, by all means just do that. But if you want to polish it and show off your your graphic design skills, your art direction skills, you want to go into a lot more detail, then by all means, it's up to you how deep you go. There's no specific requirement unless the brief says so, unless the client says we want you to complete a video, or we want you to submit a poster that's finished art, then follow the instructions in the brief.
Awesome. Another question is, speaking of briefs, what is the other quick brief? So we've got the NIST and the TSC, and what was the last one?
Your Melbourne.
Oh, your Melbourne.
That's the BMW one, right?
Yes, supported by BMW.
Cool. Okay. This one comes from Amelia. Do employers expect a PDF resume? Am I putting them off by getting them to click on my cover letter to see my resume?
Yeah, good question, Amelia. I think we've talked tonight about doing folios online and digital folios, but a PDF is a digital document, and it can be an interactive PDF as well. So you can put videos and all sorts of things in a PDF, and I sometimes think a PDF can be a great tool, particularly if you're a strategist or someone like that. Send through a document. It's just as much impact and power as a digital website. And if you haven't got the skills in web development or want to develop a polished website, then by all means, if you can do a polished PDF, it's just as effective, in my view.
Awesome. And I think this is the last one for now. We've got, for obviously our third years have to find mentors. So do you have any recommendations about finding mentors, like casually and without impinging on someone's time? And also for the second years, thinking about it for their final year as well.
I think start with your network. We all know at least 150 people really closely that we could ask their assistance. Now, amongst those 150 people, the majority are probably not in an advertising field, but they know another 150 people. And just like the virus spreads, you need to get the Delta strain and start asking questions of the people you know. Who do you know in advertising, or who do you know that could help me get the role or get a mentor in advertising? Be specific with your question, but ask that of the circle around you. And then beyond that circle, try and get 2 names. And then from those 2 names, you can speak to those, and even if they're not the right people, ask them for 2 more names of someone that might be able to help you. And you'll build your network very fast if you follow that sort of principle. That has worked for me. Anytime I've needed work, that's all I ever do. I go out to my closest circle and then ask them for help to solve the problem that I have, and they will lead me to the person. Now, of course, LinkedIn is the social media, the business social media way to do that as well. But you know, it's how you approach someone. It's better if you can have a warm introduction from somebody. So if you say, hey, I know you see someone on my LinkedIn that's you'd like to link with, message me and I'll say, could you give me an introduction? And I'm more than happily say, yep, I know Bella, happy to introduce you to the people I know. And then that person, because I've got a connection with them, more than likely to, we've got Tom Curtis coming to us from the UK as a Hungry Talks, because I said to the team, hey, just tell them that when approach Tom, but say that I suggested it, and they did all the work, but he said yes. And it's not necessarily as a favour to me, but just there's a warm introduction, that's all.
Yeah, very true. And you never know who might have a connection. So ask around and see where you end up. So thank you so much, John, for all your time tonight and your great insights. We loved having you on and answering all our questions. And for helping us Hungry Talks team along all our obstacles that we've come across so far. So up next, Bella, what have we got on?
It's Kahoot time!
Yay!
And bring it up.
The moment you're all here for. Just bear with us a moment while we get it up. Amazing. Okay, pop in the pin. Anyone in the Hungry Talks team, you're not allowed to play. You've already seen it.
We've already seen it. Actually, I mean, Perry and Chris haven't seen it, but yeah.
That's true. Okay, Perry, you can join. Go for it. And Christine. There'll also be networking afterwards if you want to stick around. So keep that in mind.
How many people can we have in a Kahoot?
I don't think there's a limit.
There isn't? Okay, cool.
Hopefully
we'll find out today.
Yeah, we're about to find out. There's 90 people in here, so I think if it's 100 max, then we should be good.
I think the free version is only 10, but clearly you've gone beyond that. And maybe I think they extended it as an education version.
I clicked student when I made the thing, so we'll find out.
Let's break Kahoot.
Yes.
True.
Also, if you have any feedback for us on the show or anything like that, we've got our Hungry Talks socials, which we recommend you checking out to keep up to date with Hungry Talks stuff anyway. But feel free to send us a message, be like, tonight was horrible, please do it better next time, and we'll try to take it on board. Does the winner get anything? Yes, the winner gets a shout out from Pat. Yeah, a follow and a shout out. Eternal glory. All right, should we get started? Is everyone, let us know if you're struggling to get in. We'll wait a little bit.
These are really interesting names. I love
Big Boss Perry, Pamela, Ethanessa, G Money. Okay, we'll start in 1 minute. Girl boss. Sorry tonight. Alright, let's just get started.
I worked out as well.
Oh really? I like this music though.
No, that's why I didn't change it.
Alright, let's get started. Sorry if you're not in yet.
It's way Ben.
Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I had to be quick on that one. I didn't give you a lot of time.
Yo, you pick up the phone. Hello? What's that? Yo, where's Dookie? Yo, Dookie. Yo. What's that? What's that? Hold on. Hello?
I feel like we have some people waiting right to the end, thinking it's going to tell them.
I cut these really well, okay? I spent a lot of time on this.
You're not going to find the answer. Although,
There's a couple, there's a couple.
There's a couple slip-ups, but...
There's a couple slip-ups.
The Aussie dream, a great Aussie bloke, the Aussie outdoor life, and the Aussie outdoor palm.
Aussie outdoor palms to stand heat, brown, exposed and windy sides and look cute planted in pots.
Create modern style screens. They're fast and easy to grow and make an attractive feature in.
This one really tripped me up when we were practicing. Yeah, Perry. Yeah.
Yeah, this one got me. That's why I put it in. I thought, gee, I'll trick them.
You know what's in these? No artificial colours, no artificial flavours, 99% fat-free.
Don't chop the dinosaur,
Go Mikey. Number 1.
Get there. I make special drink for you today, Rhonda.
Thank
Classic.
you.
You look so hot today, like a sunrise.
You're naughty. Thank you, Katut.
Remember, eyes on the road, Rhonda.
Yeah, some of them cut really awkwardly because it cut to the name. So those are really sudden cuts.
Here are some brilliant news for adults who have difficulties with spelling, reading a newspaper or phone bill, or writing letters and emails. It can be easier to improve your reading and writing skills than to keep putting it off. Take the
True. What did make
Perry?
it so memorable? It's just a cultural reset.
It's the numbers. It's the numbers. I couldn't cut it though 'cause it just has the name and the thing. Oh, this one. This is the one that gives it away.
Yeah. Oh no, it doesn't. It's a trick one. It's a trick one.
Actually, it was. It tricked you.
No, I don't think it was me. I think I can't remember who it was that it tricked.
We got a couple of people.
Yeah. It did. Yeah. Cancel. Not quite.
We'll keep them strong and healthy with golden flakes of wheat.
I made a spelling mistake.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, Weetabix?
One of the
Was
wrong-
it Weetabix that was
Yeah.
the spelling error?
Oh, you guys know your Aussie ad.
Oh, Big Boss Perry. Oh no, she's being knocked off. Go
Dropped
Josie.
from a top spot.
Dad, why did they make the Great Wall of China?
That was during the time of Emperor Nazi Goring, and it was to keep the rabbits out. Too many rabbits in China.
Okay, now Daniel will do his talk on China.
I do love that one.
Kid, did you stuff up? Oh, you haven't
Yeah.
seen it before?
Have you not seen that one?
No way.
Oh my god, I feel like I couldn't get away from it.
Jesus. Yeah. We got Josie, Big Boss Perry, Saz.
Bottle of milk, thanks.
Another
Low-fat,
classic.
no-fat, full cream, high calcium, high protein soy, light skim, omega-3, high calcium with vitamin D and folate or extra dollop.
I just want milk to taste.
You'd tell me you've seen that one. Surely. Good.
Classic.
But I jumped the gun and then I screwed it.
Oh, yeah, I put a couple of some tricksters in there just to keep it interesting.
This one's definitely not one of them.
People know. We do get a really nice product shot in there.
Yeah, the purple.
You can bite him back your
It's very left field ad. It was quite wild to rewatch.
Yeah. Gave me nightmares a little bit, not gonna lie.
Thank
Who
you,
got that
guys.
wrong? Someone voted too quick.
Oh, spicy.
Oh no, I haven't seen that one. Capri's. Wow.
So many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
By the psycho killer inside. Scratch a drug dealer's brand new ride.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got tricked on that one for sure.
Oh, sick, Cooper. Let's bring back these Apple ads. It's so fun.
Oh,
You
Josie's
didn't
still
look
in the
up
lead.
Chipmunk versions of classic
Hey.
of like songs of the era. If you didn't look up Chipmunk versions of songs, your childhood is boring.
Tickets to that thing you love. Look again. The tickets are now diamond.
Yeah, so I had to cut that one because you keep saying the name of the brand.
That's advertising, baby.
You'll know it. Alright, last one.
I love you.
Thank you.
It can only be one.
Amazing stuff. Let's see the podium. Congrats, TB. Third. Perry was second. And Josie, congrats on first. Respect.
Go ahead and put that in your folio.
Congrats as runners up. Yeah, screenshot this.
Yeah. This is a big achievement. Huge. All right. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into our premiere episode of Hungry Talks, week 1. We do hope to be back to regular programming next week, where we will be streaming on YouTube with our first guest, an incredible duo from Sydney. If you guys want to stick around for networking, feel free. We'll throw into breakout rooms in a minute. But until next time, stay groovy. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you again, John.
Thanks, everyone. Fantastic.